manage change is what we live for, and the Department of Transportation did this national competition on mobility, which Columbus deservedly won, but the process that we went through to compete was fascinating, where you get your road folks and your bus folks and your planning folks, all these people from these different departments in a room saying, what would transportation look like? And then the health folks saying, can I come? This matters to us. At the end of the day, while we didn't succeed, we realized what our deficiencies were. We went out and got a private sector mobility director who we hired 2 months ago. Now, the job of mobility director didn't exist in city government 3 years ago, but we have to adjust and bring in talent, and those cities that adjust the best will succeed.
Okay, so we're 11 days by my count from the inauguration. We have a new president arriving.
You've noticed.
We have four Democrats here. I guess most people here will know, actually, more than 2/3 of the top 100 American cities have Democrat mayors. Ron, you've had a meeting with the president-elect. Did you leave it thinking that you could get business done with the new incoming administration? I guess is the best way of putting it.
Well, there are certain things yes and certain things no. And so, you know, I was pretty clear about where we stood on immigration. I'm the son and the grandson of an immigrant. My grandfather on my mother's side came to Chicago 100 years ago, 13 years old, by himself, not a word of English. And his grandson's the mayor of the city of Chicago. That's a testament to the greatness of this country and the greatness of the city of Chicago, where Jews are not obviously the majority. And I said that we believe it's in the notion that, you know, we're the largest Polish city in the world outside of Warsaw. We're the largest Swedish city outside of Stockholm. And that diversity is a great strength because it adds to the vitality. And on the other hand, so I just told them, and also as I talked to you about our community college program, it's the only scholarship in the United States that's open to dreamers. And I'm going to stand by that because all the sacrifice and struggle the parents and grandparents make, their kids are going on to college. That's why they came here, and we should honor that rather than diminish it. Now, on the other hand, we then talked about transportation, and I talked to them about the TIFIA loan program, the RIF program, things that we're using in Chicago. I know Kasim's doing it, all of us are doing it. It's basically an infrastructure bank in embryonic stages. And I gave them ideas of how to plus that up, bring private sector money, and you can leverage it, and you don't even need any revenue from the federal government, new revenue. That's our job. You just put more money into this loan program. We built the Riverwalk with it, the intermodal facility at the airport with it, the 95th Street L station on the south side of Chicago. And if you put more money into it, allow private sector money. So that was to give you an idea, but that was where we could, I say, cooperate, because we have a mutual interest in rebuilding runways, roads, and rail systems. But on talent, which I happen to think immigrants are, you know, you look at small businesses, 40% of the businesses, small businesses in America are being started by immigrants. That is something we should embrace. And so there will be places where we will cooperate and places where we'll stand our ground and confront. And one of those areas is immigrants who, I think, make sure the American dream regularly is revitalized.
I think there's actually going to be more opportunities than we may initially have thought with respect to this new administration, particularly around infrastructure. And my hope is that they will take one of the great things learned out of the Obama administration, and that is using America's mayors to drive innovation and change at the local level. I mean, there are some synergies, not many, between the four of us and the president-elect. But he is used to getting things done, being held accountable, and holding people accountable. There's some things in common there. And using and working with America's mayors to help with infrastructure and other key strategic investments, holding us accountable and us delivering for the people in our cities and for the American people could be a great opportunity.
Mike, the president-elect today, I think, is looking really interested in the motor industry and the great companies in this city. If you were composing a memo to put into his in-tray for his first day in office about what he could do to help you and the revitalization of Detroit, what would that consist of?
You know, a number of the things he said are very reassuring. The night of his election, the first thing he said was that we were going to rebuild the cities. We're going to deal with crime in the cities. We all could use some resources from the federal government there. There's a number of things, but I think what you're going to find is this. While we're Democrats and we have a Republican president, here's the truth. Mayors are the least partisan politicians. Most Democratic mayors in this country are dealing with Republican governors and Republican state houses. And we are working across party lines and have been for years. And so I think we're going to find ways where there's common ground to work across party lines with the administration. And that's the way we're going to approach it. Is I work well with the Republican governor. I'm hoping I'll be able to work well with the Republican president.
Has Donald Trump's rhetoric during the campaign about immigration, how has that affected, as it were, the mood in this city, the people of this city?
I mean, my story is similar to Ron's. My grandfather came from Ireland, started a real estate office on the east side of Detroit, and his grandson is the mayor. Detroit was built in significant part from the initiatives of immigrants, and we have dramatically in the last 3 years since I've been mayor, we've gone back to our roots as a welcoming city, and I hope that the tone does not discourage that kind of cooperation.
Well, I mean, the bottom line, though, is America's cities are driving our economy and the recovery and growth that's taking place. He is a businessman, and he understands that if he is going to be successful in his role as president, American cities have a critical role in continuing to drive and lead the country's future.
And presumably, if that trend of, you know, the most ambitious, most creative people wanting to have urban rather than suburban lives holds true, that'll become even more true.
Absolutely.
You know, first of all, I mean, the first kind of week after his election, we were having kids not go to school, mainly in Mexican-American communities. So we sent people out because the immigrant families were scared to reassure them your kids will enroll in school. So that was an immediate, that's all come down. But I said to him, without exposing too much, because I respect the privacy of the conversation, you're an investor in New York City with a building, you're an investor in Chicago with a building, you're an investor in DC with a building. They're all sanctuary cities. You haven't invested a property in a non-sanctuary city, so there must be something about a sanctuary city you find appealing as a real estate investor. And I try to appeal to him not on the moral component, because I think that's self-evident, but as a business person, why is it, I mean, I think that's self-evident, but why is it as a business person, you've decided to invest in cities that are sanctuary cities? Because there's a vitality and an energy and all of us have said this in one way or another. Look, cities today are the economic, cultural, intellectual energy of our economy in this country. If you don't invest in them, you're actually not in the self-interest of the United States economy. We drive the metropolitan Atlanta area, the metropolitan Chicago area, the metropolitan Detroit and Columbus, Ohio area, and there's a vitality there that immigrants add to, or any other element of it.
I mean, the real question is whether they're going to allow us to continue to lead and drive the economy and GDP, or whether they're going to interfere. I mean, candidly, the federal government, with its reduction in investment, meaning real money associated with the demands they make of you, has already become a less and less influential feature in cities. So the question is whether they're going to decide to get involved even in areas where they do not make contributions. So the president's administration was very different because it was city-centric and made investments through programs like Tiger and TIFIA that really helped us do more at a time of crisis. But what I'm waiting to see is whether there is energy to intrude, because if they allow us to continue to do what we're doing and innovate, I think that we're going to continue to do what we do, which is to drive the economy and generate 15.5 million jobs and 4.8% unemployment, or 5% unemployment in America.
I think there's a great opportunity for us as mayors
I was going
to help the president-elect evolve on some of these issues. Our city is
I
larger.
got to get some of that Columbus air.
Is larger
Clean decaf.
larger, more diverse,
I think he does believe in evolution.
safer than we've ever been. And we are much more of an international city today than we were. We had a young, disturbed Somali American attack students at the Ohio State University. And we have the second largest Somali American community in the country behind Minneapolis, St. Paul. And the way our community came together to support our Somali brothers and sisters, but also come together and support law enforcement, all those folks that work together to keep our community safe. That's the type of story that we've got to share and show to the President-elect and his administration about the benefit of American citizens.
And if I can also say, something that's really clear today is the extent to which you talk to each other. And I also wonder whether the mayors of America collectively could be a force for change.